Bingo, bango, bongo. 2 years I've been waiting for this episode. Finally, David Natroshvili in the seat here today. How are you?
Great, Ben. Thank you for having me here. Well, I'm actually very happy to be here. It took longer, but now we're here.
Yes. If you wait for something, sometimes you have to wait for a little longer. So that's all okay with me. David, you've built one of the most interesting blowing up companies ever in the iGaming industry. The Aviator game that belongs to SPRIBE, we all know 60 million monthly users.
Yes.
It's the most popular game in the entire world. How did this happen?
Well, it's actually a great question. I remember 6 years ago, it's a famous iPad story. We came to our first exhibition in London with an iPad and this idea. We had one customer in Georgia, small company. Georgia, a small country, and it was not no way international or any of that sort. Just one small company in Georgia. In Georgia, it was a big company, but Georgia is like when we started in Georgia and it blew up. I was like, why can't it blow up in other countries, other markets? But we didn't know anything about the iGaming. I didn't know anything about iGaming. I didn't know what was the iGaming. I just knew that there was some kind of industry, there was casinos online, and that's it. I don't know what's aggregator, what platform is, nothing, affiliate. And we just came with this, me and my partner came with this idea with an iPad just to meet everyone. And I was trying to really meet people online. And now it's interesting, not a trend, but it's like a fun thing. People post on LinkedIn how I wrote them in 2019,
right.
And then they
didn't reply.
And they replied in 3 years. Like, why didn't? And I literally was writing everyone, and no one was replying. No one. And I said to Nick, to my partner, I said, let's go, man. We have to go to the exhibition. Let's Google. We say, London Ice. It was in February, and we just landed. We went with no meeting, and the first thing we did, we just started approaching the stands and talking to everyone. Imagine how hard it was, because you never meet the right person, and we would go to the same stand 5 times, 6 times, and no one wanted to be there, because idea back then was that it's not a casino game, that it's not gonna, because it's not a casino game, it's not gonna work. I've heard so many no's, so many no's. It's not gonna work. It's a bad idea. And most importantly, crash games were before us. I mean, we didn't invent the crash games. People think we invented crash games. No, we just took what it was there and made it better. That's a difference, because crash games were there even much before. So.
Mm-hmm. And not many people know this, David, right? But you mentioned that you were new to the iGaming industry at that point. Before that, you were a politician in Georgia, right?
Yes, I was a politician, yes, I was. So I had a very diverse background. So to be honest, in my background, I've done so many things. I had restaurants, clubs, laser hair removal clinics, one of the best in Georgia, by the way, believe it or not. I was very entrepreneurial. I was doing many things. But the real success came to me when I was 43. I was 48 now, 43, 44. I was somewhat successful all my life. It all depends what you call success. Success is very, I don't know, relative, to many things. So when you get the real success, you feel it. You feel that it's there.
There's levels. There's levels of success. Let's say.
How they say. There is money. There's a lot of money. So it's a big difference, right? And obviously, I think money is a big part of the success, because. You can be an artistic person. You can be in many things, and you can be successful. But if you are in the business, and you're not successful with money, then you're not successful with business, right? It's 2 things. Of course, there's sometimes that you can build the brand. It takes time, but by the end of the day, I believe that if you're a good businessman, if you know what the business is, the measure is money. It's because this is. And you never think about the money, obviously, because you think about building the value, building the company, because money is it will come as a bonus. I think it will come based on your right things right decisions you make, and right, things that you do.
Yeah, and then money is a consequence
Money
of
is
the
a consequence,
good
yes.
decisions.
Exactly. When you build the value, when you solve the problem, right? Let's take Aviator, right? What was the Aviator's issue? The Aviator, not issue, but the Aviator's reason for success.
Yeah.
Because there was a big problem, it turns out. You know what was the big problem?
What was
that like 30 years ago, when was online casinos being created? Maybe 30?
End of the 90s.
Yeah, and when they were created, nothing has changed. I mean, you have a lot of slot companies, you have live,
real
you
games,
have a blackjack, you have
real.
roulette.
Yeah.
But turns out the market wants something new,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
This is the problem.
Yeah.
This is the issue that we solved in a way, and then we have a success based on that, because it turns out the players want a game like this. They want fast, they want simple, they want game that works in every region, because when the internet is an issue, because remember, there's many regions that still have a very bad internet, and this is a light game, and it's very fast and very quick, right? So I think there was and now if you look at the iGaming industry as a whole, SPRIBE is dominating it. You know why? Because in some casinos, SPRIBE makes 20%, 30% of the revenue. Imagine 20-30% of the revenue of the whole casino. Sometimes 10, but this is like became as a good affiliate tool. So they bring the customers, from they recruit customers. I don't know how to say it right, but they attract customers. I would say, yeah.
And I was speaking to one of the guys of Betway, who manages Betway in South Africa, right? And he showed me that not only does like Crash Game have its own tab or something, but Aviator have its own tab in the casino.
Yes,
right? So there's slot games, sports betting,
exactly.
Aviator.
This is what I was doing it when I was starting. Let's when we started to do it, we couldn't hire people. Okay, we were sitting in Kiev, 6 guys, 4 founders, and 2 employees. Really, like my first employee was his salary. I'm not gonna name his name, but people know him. His salary was $800 a month, because we couldn't ever. He was like really my assistant, in a way, but. We were trying assistant because in sales, because remember when we started Aviator, everything was sold by me. There was not one phone call that I was not there. Every phone call, I was sitting personally and I was doing presentation. I wasn't just sitting there, because I would not allow anyone to ruin the presentation, because it was so new, so different. And you know what happened? Like the COVID was the biggest blessing for us, because. You know why? Because when we had the first exhibition, I remember our budget for a stand, not like crazy stands we have now, was $55,000, and we were debating whether take the stand, not take the stand. It was such a big decision, So in London Ice, and we took a stand. And when I came back to Georgia, I was sitting in the plane. Everyone wore masks. I was like, "What's happening? Like, why people?" And COVID started, and it was a blessing for me, because everyone was at home. And they were like so bored listening, screaming kids at home, and they couldn't leave. They had to listen to me. I would call them at home and say, "Listen, this is a great game," and they would rather listen to me because they were so bored they couldn't leave anywhere. Imagine like they would be so difficult to keep these people, decision makers, to talk to you because in other ways. But in COVID, everyone was at home. So what they're gonna do? They're gonna listen to me. So I would call me. I would look at this game. It's cool, and we had really big success by, telling them how great the game was, and they believed in it. So
yeah. And was there a moment where you said, "Holy shit! Like this is taking off"? Like,
yes, there was a moment.
Was there a moment that you remember?
Yes, I actually, to be honest, like when we got this our first, stand, and we were at the end of the, where they have conferences in ice, like they put us in the corner somewhere, end of the small stand, and we had 4 promotion girls, 4, we can afford more, and they were very nice also. They were doing their job, and people were started coming, like to the stand, and the interest, even though we were so far away, we get so much traction for like explaining. So it's very difficult to say why they would like buy this idea of Crash games, because Crash games, remember, they were existing before. There was like, we didn't create Crash game, right? It was the other Georgian company that the smart soft, they were before us, in Georgian market, of course.
Yeah.
We were first one to take it globally. This is different. The Georgian market, there was one company before them even in Georgia that they had a crash game. But it's not about who you made it first. Like, if you look at the Facebook, right? Facebook, like MySpace was before Facebook. I listened to one of the interviews of Mark Zuckerberg. He said, like, it's not about being first. Like, if you look at BlackBerry, remember BlackBerry? Everyone were having BlackBerry in US. It was a phone with buttons. I don't know if you guys remember, but everyone was having BlackBerry. There was no iPhone, but where is the BlackBerry now?
Yeah.
No one knows.
No.
So it's not about who is first. It's not, people think, oh, I'm going to be first. Oh, it's my first idea. No, it's the execution also. It's like there are many things in combination.
Yeah, I'm curious though, because you managed to solve that problem where players went from not really paying attention to crash games for many years to all of a sudden players being obsessed with crash games. But not just being obsessed with crash games, being obsessed with Aviator. For some reason, players prefer to play Aviator rather than other games which are pretty much, they look the same mechanics.
Exactly.
On face level, they look the same. Why do people at this point prefer to play Aviator?
I always say, like, when you ask me, what do you do? I say, I have my witch costume at night, and I make a soup, like a pot. At night, I have special...
With a big hat.
With a big hat. So, like, in short, I always say, I know you're a very fit guy. I actually, we're good friends, and I really admire it. You did the marathon, right? I mean, this is crazy. Like, I don't know how you do it. But it's great, right? But so imagine if someone asks you, like, Pierre, how do you do this, man? And you could say, oh, you can just work out once a week and it's be done. No, right? You need to sleep at the same time most of the time. You have to eat right most of the time. You have to work out most of the time, right? You cannot just run marathon without getting many things in combination, right? It's impossible. Like, you cannot just be fit with just doing one thing. Same with business. To be successful in business, you have to do many things in combination, right? You have to do right marketing, right management, many things because when you look at Aviator, people like now make the similar copy games. They're like, oh, it looks the same. They put Aviator, I don't want to mention names, but something similar, or it looks the similar, or they call it like different pilot, or many other words. But the tech, what goes behind the marketing that goes, like, look at us. I mean, we have the most UFC champion ambassadors. I think any company has, like, globally. I mean, I don't know, like, obviously in iGaming we're the biggest one. So we you come to our stands, you see we have the most beautiful stands. We do we bring like stability to our partners. I'm always going to the stands, I'm meeting them. So it's many things in combination. You cannot just say, oh, if something looks like same. Like, if you take a Coca-Cola barrel, let's say, Coca-Cola is the biggest drink in the world, and I make the same Coca-Cola, same looking barrel, and and you try. First of all, taste will be different, right? It looks the same. Same with, with us. I mean, the game experience is everything. Because we invest so much effort, time, money, energy on making the game experience so much better. When you play the game, you understand why. Well, like, let's open any copy and you will see the why. Because first of all, when you come to Aviator, you see 400,000 bets. 400,000 bets every minute. You can imagine this number, just 60 million players. 60 million is like population of France, Imagine population of France playing.
Every month.
So people feel this energy. When they come, they see like bets, So would you go to the restaurant which is empty, or would you go to restaurants that's hard to book, it's full, right? Like, the other restaurant could be so much nicer, looking nicer, but you want something that is so not accessible, so not easily accessible, right? Same. When they come, they see so many people are betting. They see it's like it's a lifestyle now, So that's the reason, I think.
I think if I could add one thing too. other companies might look at your success and they say, we need to create a game just like that and piggyback off the success of that game, thinking that it's all about the game, and if they maybe undercut the commission a little bit, then they will be able to, steal some clients and so on. But, you mentioned earlier, David, your entrepreneurial journey and the spirit that you have. And you mentioned something interesting earlier as well, that when Aviator was nothing, and you came to ICE and you had a hard time to get meetings, you were reaching out on LinkedIn to people, writing messages, no one would reply to you, and you still continue this gritty outreach of this like really dirty, gritty work that you just had to do in order to find some form of success or traction. I would also put that in the mix as just a successful, as a trait of a successful entrepreneur as well, that it's not down to just copying some other product and then undercutting the fees, but it's down to a lot of this like being willing to do the dirty work. And maybe that's not seen always, because you mentioned, you have the best hand. You invest a lot in UFC fighters. You work a lot on the technology. There's a lot of things happening there. But at the foundation, it is the gritty work that comes down to it that I don't think many people are willing to do.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. And one more thing, like if you take, like, let's say UFC fighters, right? Let's take Pereira or any fighter, big fighter. You know how much work they put in every day? Like they want to sleep. They don't want to, they are lazy to wake up. They want to go out, but they have and the fighters who have strong discipline, they win. So in business, it's the same thing. You need to have a discipline. So great point you mentioned. Like for example, like when we're talking about success, right? Like sometimes success, the big success, it comes very fast. 6 years ago, I could not raise 100,000 for 10% of equity of SPRIBE. Would you buy 10% of SPRIBE for 100,000 PM? Would you?
You were trying to raise money like that?
I could.
1 million valuation.
1 million valuation.
And people said no. They cannot sleep today, then.
So, yeah, exactly. I took my phone, and I have a lot of contacts in Georgia, so I would just call everyone I knew. We were in Kiev. They would come to Kiev. Kiev was a great party place. They would party, and the second day, on the hangover, they would call me, David, you need to work a little bit on the product. Call me in 3 months. Like when you polish it a little bit here and there, then you call me. That's what. And I'm so grateful that I couldn't raise. Imagine I could raise now for $100,000. So it's the idea of success is like not to lose touch with the reality. And what you mentioned now is very interesting because we take it seriously. We come, even though we're successful, we don't say, go to our partners we're big, and no, we every time we try to be, we try to know what's happening. Not try, we know what's happening. I personally know mostly all the founders. I have a great relationship with the founders. We have like 5,000 casinos, but I cannot know everyone obviously, but I know most of them. And we're trying to be on top of things. Someone has a problem, someone has an issue. And with the price, what happened? Like people try to undercut us. You know what we did? That no one in the industry done. We increased the prices. We increased the prices like 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was that.
Players want Aviator.
Yeah, but because the reason we increase it, not because we're greedy, but being greedy in the business, nothing wrong with that. In the business, you have to be, but greedy in a good way, not in a bad way. Greedy. You have to build the value, and then. But what we increase because we invest so much on marketing, on promotion, that we don't promote when we promote Aviator. When you see on UFC, Octagon, Aviator, it's everyone gets a promotion. All the markets. We're not doing it for Brazil or for Europe. It's every market in the world, gets, and every operator also. We don't say play here on the specific operator. We say this is Aviator. So people Google, what is this Aviator? It's everywhere. What's happening? Like who are these guys? So this is things that. And one more thing I want to mention also, that we keep forgetting in iGaming industry, players. I always say players are the kings. Players make a decision where to play, not any operator, not any platform provider, any aggregator, or for that matter, any studio. You can create many games, but players decide what they want to play. Players in Brazil, players in Africa, players in many, many other markets, Europe, they decide where they want to play. So we are the first company, actually, big companies told us this, that we started to talk directly with the players, because before, like, this exhibition here is great, but here we only the industry professionals, as we come, we see who has this bigger stand, who has this. But what about the players? Players don't come here; they don't see it, right? So we decided, we're gonna talk to the players. We're gonna explain who we are. We're gonna explain how stable, great, and fun things we can do for them. Because by the end of the day, we are in the entertainment industry. This is entertainment. You compete with Netflix, you compete with YouTube, you compete with any entertainment in the world. So people decide, how much time they want to spend here, how many, movies they want to watch, or YouTube, or etc. Anything. So we are in the entertainment industry. So this is very important to understand. So if you show the players that you build something meaningful, they're gonna respond. And look what happened. So but undercutting something is not going to work. Copying, it never works.
No, it's interesting. So on the game supplier world, most game suppliers, they will put their marketing spend on investing in meeting operators, which are the customers. But then in your case, you kind of chose this B2B2C model of us, where you are taking it a step further and not just relying on operators listing the game, but then also promoting the game directly to the players. I want to shift the topic for a little bit. So obviously you created a massive success in a very short span of time. You mentioned 60 million active monthly players.
400,000 bets.
Sorry, 400,000 bets
every minute.
Every minute. 400,000.
Now we're talking 400,000. 400,000.
Yes. And just in this conversation, millions of bets, right?
Yeah.
So we can do a quick calculation, and you don't have to say numbers, but I'm just gonna guess that we are talking in the range of hundreds of millions of euro in GDR, and potentially EBITDA and things like this as well.
Yeah.
And when a company rises to becoming maybe a unicorn very, very quickly, there's always going to be a backside, I think, of that, where others are wanting to take a piece of that cake. A couple of situations springs to mind with Aviator here. You mentioned the Georgian company called SPRIBE LLC or something like this.
Aviator LLC.
Sorry, not SPRIBE, Aviator LLC, that you've been in a long court case with for some time. So just to shift focus on the backside of success for a while, talk about, to start off with here, talk about this legal case that you had with Aviator LLC.
So I will explain. Yeah, it's a great question actually, and I know many people want to hear about it. But right now we are in a situation where they made a copy, exact copy, like it was. So in short, imagine the court was about the logo, that we stole their logo. That was not stole, but copied their logo. But now, they created exactly the same copy of the game with the same music. We have a lot of copycats that looks like us, and I don't have a problem with that. You can make game that looks like us, you can try to sell it, it's fine. But these guys, they're making much worse. What they want to do, the idea was to trick the players, to lie to them, to steal from the players by pretending that they are us, and giving their own version of game, which is technically, obviously, we spent 5 years for perfecting the game. You imagine 400,000 bets, the tech behind it. It doesn't come on one day. Okay, I make a copy, 5 software developers sit down, and okay, they made a copy. So the biggest thing what I don't like in this is not about the competition. I love competition, because everyone knows we own 90% of the market share. I mean, Blask recently made the report, 92, 91. I don't have problem. I love competition, because it makes us better, it makes us stronger, it makes everyone stronger. But what I don't like is when I value our players so much, I respect them, but they don't respect them because they think they don't understand. So what their idea is to make the same. Imagine making same games, same music, same everything. So players are confused. They don't know which one they're playing, and as we were talking, they would sell it for a smaller, commission, and people, they steal the success of us by creating something similar. So in short, we had the first customer in Georgia. Remember? So again, no one wanted to be with us. Like we even offered them at the beginning to be our partners. They said no. So that's our first customer. So they think that just because they were our first customers in Georgia, they own the brand. But the funny part was like when we started, obviously we were working with them for a long time. 6 years they didn't show up, or 5 years. Now they showed up. After we were successful, now they woke up. Where they were all this time? If there were some issues, this is number one. Second, we own the brand worldwide. An Aviator logo belongs to us, and even belonged to Georgia to us also. But you know what happened? I don't want to talk about now Georgian government a lot, but unfortunately there are issues right now, as everyone can see. I'll tell you just two things. U.S. government sanctioned top 20 Georgian judges for corruption, for rule of law, for lack of democracy. Then UK, it was I think 6 months ago, UK government did the same thing for these judges. So judges will make decisions by removing our logo, which legally belong to us, like everywhere else in UK and many, many other countries. They're sanctioned by UK government. Now you tell me, it's very simple to see, what's happening, but in general, Georgia, even though I'm from Georgia is not our market. We don't operate in Georgia. They can do whatever they want. Now in UK, we won the big case because injunction. So what happened is the main case that is going on. So there is two cases, one main case, but then we started the second injunction case. So what's injunction means that there is some issues. You say there is a damage happening to my brand, and we need to do something about it. So UK government agreed with us that this other company were damaging our reputation, the brand, but obviously only in UK, because UK judge can only take a decision on UK territory. But the United Kingdom is one of the biggest and most developed IP court in the world. So many companies from other countries go to UK for the final decision. So when UK says something, it means that and the most important thing was analysis. What the judge did, judge in 2 days did tremendous job. He wrote everything what it was there. Oh. So now we have a full injunction. It's interim injunction, obviously, before the main court. So what is injunction? Court says they don't have a right to use the word Aviator or logo or sell to anyone or approach any company in UK, because they decided that they were damaging our reputation, our name, etc., etc. It's a good win, because now, obviously we're going to multiply this it's going to take time, but we're going to do the same thing in other jurisdictions. Yeah. But UK is the biggest one.
Yeah, exactly.
So in short, I don't want to say I'm right or wrong, but the idea was that we are a small company, tiny startup 6 years ago, where they had a chance to buy 50% of SPRIBE. They didn't do it. Now they think, we missed it, and now let's, so this is what it is. But the good thing is, SPRIBE is a proud owner of the brand, of the logo, and it will take time, but we will see, how it's going to go. But we won the injunction, we keep going.
Yeah, exactly. So you won that in a very strict kind of IP court that will lay a really strong foundation for future potential cases in other jurisdictions.
Absolutely.
And so that's how it is. Okay. Staying on the UK, last week there were some maybe not so positive news in that regard, than that UKGC decided to suspend temporarily the license of SPRIBE's Aviator in the UK market. Not many details were announced by the UKGC. What happened there?
I know a lot of people. It was a big news. A lot of people want to hear. So I'll try to make it as simple and short as possible. So SPRIBE is taking very seriously any regulations, and we are licensed, or we're certified in more than 50 jurisdictions. I call it right to operate. In some jurisdictions you have to take certification, some jurisdictions you have to have a license, but we take it very seriously because we have a great team of compliance, of legal team, and we take it seriously. So in short, we have a remote operating license, B2B license they call it, from 2020 in UK. Okay, so now it's 25, so 5 years we have a license. We pay taxes. We report all the files, all the audit reports. I mean, they check you. I mean, it's a bureaucratic process, right? Just to obtain the license and then also to supply all the reports. So 5 years there was no issue because we were giving. First of all, 2020, UK Gambling Commission gave us this license. They knew what we were doing. We didn't change anything. We had Aviator game. That's it. Very simple, right? So last week, last Tuesday, we have an email just that we need additional license. So we have only one, but to operate this type of game, we need now hosting license. And we talked to them. We had one call with them. We said, listen, we didn't know this. You're just telling us now this because this is. I don't want to point the fingers, but we were operating 5 years. Give us some reasonable time, at least 1 week. They said no. We have to suspend it now. You have to reapply for additional license, and they didn't say 1 month, but my lawyers are telling me that 1 month we can come back. So unfortunately, it was maybe not a good decision from my end because I would just keep this license what I have now because we didn't violate anything. We paid everything. We filed all the audit reports, everything. It just creates some unnecessary noise around SPRIBE. But I don't know. It's their decision. They said no. We have to suspend. You have to post that license is temporarily suspended. And when you apply for this hosting license additional, then we can. So basically, there's 2 licenses. We're working with one because before it was okay, for 5 years it was okay. Yeah. Now they just show up. They say no, it's not okay. You need to get one more. I said okay, give us the time. They said no. We said okay, we comply, and that's and we are where we are now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I think when the announcement came out, it's it's not a nice headline.
Exactly, it's
right?
Suspense,
It's suspended it because people assume that something bad has happened, but in reality, it's an oversight of a second hosting license. You're not aware of it, and in a month's time, you'll be hopefully back live in UK market.
I cannot even say anything to my legal team because I'm very if it's your problem because 5 years it was working this way. And I don't know why they now. So if it's a mistake, I think it's not. We apply for a license. They know what we're doing. We didn't change anything. Everything was fine, and now we need hosting license. So we'll take it also. I mean, SPRIBE is very. Taking this matter seriously because we respect the regulation. Obviously, we respect the fact that they allow us to operate in UK, and we're very grateful for this. And we will continue to try to be as compliant as possible. But in general, we asked for extension and we just heard it literally last Tuesday. I mean, it was it was so fast.
Yeah.
So it's just out of the blue, so it is what it is. But I mean, hopefully in 1 month we'll be back.
Yeah, good to clarify. It's interesting to hear as well.
Thanks for asking.
So let's shift focus as well then. So just back to what I mentioned before, the company almost from nowhere became hyper successful, right? Hundreds of millions potentially euro flowing through the company, and massive success in the business, and that's obviously what we see from the outside. But I'm very curious to understand what happens to a company that all of a sudden experience this hyper influx of money. There's a famous rap song from the 90s, right? Notorious B.I.G. More money, more problems.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
And so I want to ask you, David, is it true? More money, more problems?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true, actually, yes. Because first of all, I decided we are a private company, but I decided to be open. Not exactly how much invoice we make, but I said, listen, let's say how much wager we do, because in every iGaming company, I know the industry very well now. I have a lot of friends. When we sit by the beer at the bar, we always talk about the wager, because wager and number of bets are the biggest true measurement of success, right? I mean, again, it's the same thing. If you are a great casino, but your GGR is a wager, and then GGR is very small, I mean, you cannot be great. I mean, you take the big names in crypto casino. I don't want to mention names, so I don't want to disappoint anyone. But we know the names. They're great names because they're doing great things, and that's why they're great. I mean, you cannot be, if your product is great, you're doing everything great, then success is there. So the monthly wager for Aviator, I just say it for, and then if you know the math, you do the math, it's very easy to calculate. Okay, so so
Okay,
the monthly wager average now for Aviator. So what's the wager? It's stake. So how much money people bet on the game, right? A month. Okay, so it's 14 billion with a
40
B.
billion.
Yeah. Not with a M, with a B. So
40 billion with a B.
14 billion, yes. So 1/4. So it's monthly wager that they put on the Aviator, right? This is something that everyone is like benefiting from. Like when we have 5,000 casinos, of course they love me also. I have great relationships. They love me, I love them. But you know what they love? They love the partnership. They love how much value they can, how much money they can make from SPRIBE. This is the 14 billion they love. This is the 14 billion because when I say we are a monopolist, we dominate. This is what they love because they see the players keep coming. One more thing also, what happened? I don't want to mention names, but interesting. The big casinos, at the beginning they turned off Aviator. They created the same version of Aviator. They did. They did many things. You know what they found? The players were losing. They're leaving the platform. They're going to. And they come back, please.
Renegotiation.
Can you come back?
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. No, it's like so common in many markets. Big brands. Of course, I'm going to. So because the idea is like we're trying to talk to the players. We're trying to. If you go to YouTube, you write word Aviator, and the YouTube algorithm is like you have to refresh the page. You cannot refresh the page. You go down, it's going to be Aviator. So there's so many people streaming from all over the world. So going back to wager and success. So 14 billion. You imagine the number, man. It's like it's crazy.
It's like
of course it's going to make
money to the moon.
Exactly. So. It's a month. Like in a year, you can multiply. It's even crazier number, right? Like, so we are where we are. The biggest issue, I think, in startups like this, as you said, when you are very small, you become very successful. That then if people start trying, like founders have issues, then some people like trying to make they make some money and they think like they're too cool. Oh, you work so much, I work so much. This is the worst thing what can happen actually.
Yeah, who do you trust?
Trust, and then and the company go bankrupt. Like it's so easy by achieving big success and go down. So I know this in our company till now. We are like family, and we will keep it like family because this is the something we do. We take it very seriously again because. Again, like BlackBerry was also very successful. Kodak was very successful. I remember Kodak. Everyone was taking pictures of Kodak. Where is the Kodak? Or Nokia phone. Remember Nokia phone? Yeah. Everyone has Nokia phone. It still exists, but I mean, so like we don't take this like as granted.
No.
So
no. And I mean, all of a sudden, hundreds of millions of euros are flowing into the company. Other businesses that have this type of turnover, it takes decades to get to that point. So they can grow organically, they can build out their company, maintain finances, treasury, so on and so forth. But in your case, all of a sudden, boom! Like how do you even manage that type of money? Because I would imagine that there's like wealth managers all of a sudden reaching out to you. Yes, everyone, we will manage your wealth and.
We know better.
Oh my God! How do you in this environment? How do you trust? But then at the same time, you have like all this money that needs to be maintained somehow. Like, how does it work? How does it work?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing also that we, I don't think about it that much right now. Maybe I should, but what I'm thinking about, like let's say reinvesting in like wealth management or something. Right now we are very active. I have, I always say when you wake up in the morning. And you're not scared of your plans, you have to change your plans. You have to be scared. Like when you just chill every day, you're just relaxing. Yeah, it's also good. Some people choose that, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? You live in a nice area, you have a nice air, you wake up in the morning, and it's fine. With us, I don't know. Fortunately, unfortunately, we're very ambitious. I'm scared of my plans right now. I am scared of my plans, and what I'm trying to do in the next 5 years. Is going to be we just touch the surface of the iGaming industry because I have some crazy things what I want to do, and I would rather invest all this money that I have to the industry. Like in 5 years, I'm 48 now. In 5 years, maybe I'll relax. I'll try to be, buy stocks and give money to the wealth managers or something. But right now, basically, what I'm trying to say, we're very active. We have some exciting products coming in, like Broadway, for example. Broadway it took longer than we thought, and I will never be afraid of say that. You can, you have to accept that you make mistakes, not mistakes. Mistake of planning something sooner, because it's a software. It's so difficult to build, right? I mean, we have 80, 100 people working only on Broadway every month. We spend at least 600,000-700,000 a month just for the Broadway, for the investment. But we couldn't build it yet the way. It's a great product. It's one of the best in the industry. We are SPRIBE. We want to make it the number one, of course. I mean, top 3 at least, but number 1. And to do it, it's so hard because you have these legacy projects, which are great. We know who they are. They are very good in the industry, but they built 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 15 years ago, some of them. And they're very hard to adapt, But now, 21st century iGaming demands other things. And we hope we can solve this problem. Again, because right now, in this business, someone has this good, someone has this. I'm not gonna mention what, but some features, right? So we're trying to build a platform that we will solve the features of everyone's issues, right? So when you come to us, we will have the solution for all the issues.
Yeah.
And that's our next big thing.
Brilliant. And let's talk about money and happiness. So you have a pretty unique insight here, David. Obviously, as you mentioned before, you've always been entrepreneurial, you've always done somewhat well and so on. But this is a whole nother level of financial success, of course. And so I want to ask you, does money make you happy?
Of course, man. so
there we go.
When people say money doesn't buy happiness, it's a BS. I'll tell you why it buys happiness. Of course, if you're an angry person, no money will make you happy. No money. I mean, if you're an angry person, if you're you're just like pitching it about life and trying to find everything negative, no, of course. But if you're a happy person, and then money makes you do things that you want to do. Imagine you want to travel, for example, right? But travel is a different ways of travel, right? And travel somewhere, and then you can do all of that. But of course, people say, you can buy a lot of cars, or you can buy, and after some point of time, you cannot buy anymore. I mean, how many cars can you have? How many? But the point is not about the cars. The point is that you are free to do whatever you want. When I was young, one smart guy told me, David, first thing you have to do is fuck you money. I said, what is fuck you money? When people come and tell you things that you don't like, you can tell them, fuck you, fuck you. That's a fuck you money. So the first thing you have to make money that you can allow yourself not to do things you don't want to do. So you're not in a job that you don't want to do. You're not in a business. When you enjoy things you do. So me, for example, I was asked all the time, why do you work, David? You can be anywhere, because I enjoy it. Yeah. And it's not like I don't have to work, of course, but first of all, I don't work right now. I don't. This is a pleasure for me, of course, it's a stress. I want to say a couple of things about stress. I think we take stress wrongly, especially, for men, for the industry, if you look at the stress, or for women also, not for men, but mostly in our industry are men for some reason, mostly, I don't know why, but we are dominant, maybe there's 5% of women here. But, if you look at the industry that it's stressful, then it's going to be stressful. But if you look at the industry that stress is good for you, because some people say, stress is going to kill you. But what if stress not gonna kill? What if it makes you stronger? What if and then you enjoy it, So I have stress. Of course I have stress. Yeah. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna. I have so many court cases. It's like, as you said, more money, more problem. Of course I have stress. But if you look at the stress as a fun thing to have, sometimes it's difficult. Then it's easy. So money, going back to the question, buys happiness if you want to be happy. This is the key. If you choose not to be happy, no money will make you happy, man. You'll be angry, grumpy person, old, and as they say, you becoming old when you decide to become old. When you tell yourself, I'm old, you'll be old. Same thing with the money. You have to enjoy life, and then it's good.
So someone said that money is like an amplification of your personality. So if you're a good person, you become better. Like if you're a bad person, you become worse. It's like you're saying, if you're unhappy, you become less happy. And so on.
Little bit also, I would add, I think money does change you. There's no one that money doesn't change. There's, when people say, if you're a good person, money doesn't change you. No, it's BS. I think, not BS, but I think the money changes you, for sure. I mean, there's no way. But how do they change you? It can change you in a better way, right? I mean, it cannot change. Money changes you. There's no other way. And as you said, there's money, there's two different levels. You going different link, of course it's going to change you, but you can become better. You can become much wiser, because when you are young, when you're starting out, maybe you're not like me. Also, I was not maybe so wise, but now I'm becoming more and more, smarter in many ways. And of course, this experience makes you smarter, right? As you said, this big success makes you smarter. Like it's.
But it must be a backside to this as well, right? I would imagine that when you all of a sudden become this profile with that amount of money, people want to take advantage of you.
Yes.
Do you have this sense of sometimes not being sure what people's intention are?
Yeah. Well, one thing what is it is like. It's very hard to make friends.
I imagine so. Because you don't know.
Because when you are let's say in the middle, so but you're successful. Like this, let's say, I don't know how to say middle in a good way, but you are, you have the same level of people around you. Let's say, then you don't have any issues. Everyone is happy. You are happy. So what I found that people are jealous. You know why? Because they see what you have, and they want what they want the same thing, and they're angry that they don't have it, and they're angry at you why you have it.
They become angry instead of being inspired.
Because not everyone, but that's what I found. Many people, this jealousy, it comes out, of course, and they try to get they're angry at you because you have something they don't have, and they want to take advantage of it. So this is the main issue. But I mean, you still you still have. I think I have very good friends. I think there's not everyone is like that. There's of course majority of the people gonna be angry and jealous, but you still have people that are really genuine, and I'm very happy that I still have it. But answer to the question, yes, there are many people who want to take advantage of it, but you also good thing is that I also learned to say no. So you have to say no before. Being nice is not always good. Being nice, people take advantage of it. You can say no. Let's say relatives or someone, they come, please finance this business or finance, and this is non-stop. It's not about the money. It's about this time that you spend on these useless projects. And
exactly. I can imagine that there's a lot of strange conversations and requests and so on that comes from maybe people that you have somewhere in your past that is resurfacing in your life and so on. Not easy to navigate that, I imagine, sometimes.
I don't know. I want to just add one more thing. Is what you said. What I found also, that it doesn't matter if you have money or not. But before I didn't know this. But I learned this after I got successful, that there's worst things are toxic people. It doesn't matter it's your family, it could be your brothers, sisters. Toxic people will always try to drag you down, always. And this is before I was nice and I felt it, but maybe they didn't want to attack me because there was no much point to attack me. But now when I'm successful, now they become more greedy and become more. But in general, toxic people is something that you need to get rid of as a human being. Doesn't matter it's your family or friends. And then when we grow up, we change. I'm not the same person I was 20 years ago. No, when I had a friend 30 years ago from childhood, and the guy didn't grow up. I grew up, but he stayed there. So he thinks the same way 30 years ago, and I cannot connect with him, even though he's my friend. I can help him, but I'm not gonna, give my precious time, even to invite him somewhere or spend time with him, because he's gonna be toxic. He's gonna try to put me down. So I would rather surround myself to the people who can motivate me, and I can feel good. So if you if someone calls you and you say, like this, you should just drop this guy. I mean, this is what I learned, and it's harsh, but it's reality. Either you do it and you just drop everyone that puts you down, or you are unhappy then, So this is what I learned. Before I didn't know this. I thought I should be nice. I should it's my friend. Oh, it's my brother. Oh, it's my this. So
yeah. I think it's important to be a genuinely good person to people, but it's so important to have boundaries. Then, right? So you're a good person, sending good energy out there, but you have to have boundaries. Like if you have a good sense of people who have other intentions, there's boundaries there.
I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah, and it's not everyone have that sense of understanding who is good and who is bad. And you see a lot of successful people perhaps that are falling into this trap of going into these toxic environments, because the toxic people are the first ones who will be there saying the right words. They'll be there. They'll come back. They'll do nice thing to get your influence, and then before you know it, you're surrounded by this bad kind of group of people. Yeah,
I agree with you.
Not easy. To start rounding things off here a little bit, David, I do have 2 more questions for you here.
Sure.
First and foremost, SPRIBE, in its rise, is a very straightforward company. Aviator is the product that is generating most of the revenue.
Yeah, of course.
It's one game. It's a lot of complexity around it, but nonetheless, it's not a very complex organizational structure with different revenue streams. It's one revenue stream, which makes it perfect as an acquisition target. Have you been close to being acquired at some point?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything you can go into?
Yes. There was I don't want to mention it, but there was one of the biggest companies in iGaming. We were very close, but we didn't close because valuation was very, very big. Obviously, it was like a couple billions. But what I didn't like is the final part of the deal. So basically, how it is like. These big acquisitions, the way it works, they buy, let's say, 50% first, then you work for them for for the company for 2-3 years, and the second part comes after. So I don't like the cap on the earnings. So if I work for someone and they put a cap on my earnings, they say, okay, even if let's say your EBITDA grows to so much, you're still gonna make so much. I said, why? I mean, it's not fair, right? I mean, so this is one of the things. But I also want to mention that we were approached by 2 of the biggest private equity firms, like US based, I can say, 2 big ones, very big ones.
Might start with Black. Something. I'm not gonna put that to you.
No, I don't want to mention names, but the big ones, and they didn't want to buy us, but they say, we want to hear your story. Can you tell us your great story? And we met a couple of times, and they know. To be honest, I'm not rushing, to exit, because I think that we're becoming so big now, it's so difficult to buy us. I understand this. Like, you can imagine the valuation now, and who can afford it? I mean, there's no one. There's one company, I think, in iGaming that can do it, or maybe 2. Because then you have to do an IPO, which I'm thinking maybe to do it, but maybe in 1 or 2 years. Because I think it's we can do. I don't want to just do IPO just for IPO. I want to do something really successful, and I think we have 60 million players. Imagine they will buy shares because we have fans. They love Aviator. So we can it could be quite big. For IPO. So I'm thinking more to IPO than to the exit, to be honest. But right now, because we're too big, it's too difficult now to anyone. And as you said, people see it's one game, and because one game, we have other games, but the idea is the revenue is so big on this game, and the other game's revenue for average company is also big, but nobody cares about the Mines and Goal and all these turbo games, even though they make maybe 10% of our revenue, but 10% is quite big also, for any company. But no one cares about it. But we are one big,
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if you IPO in in like a year or two.
Yeah, I was thinking 2 years.
What would you think the target valuation will be at that point?
So it's all about the multiplier, right? So
Yeah.
like average multiplier for starting the IPO is 15 times of revenue.
15 times, yeah.
15 times revenue.
That was net and was bought by about 15
net was
times.
20 something or 18.
Even that, yeah.
Yeah, so
Sure.
let's say 15, 12.
Yeah.
So if
15,
you take
20.
like maybe at least 5 billion,
Yep.
at least,
Sure.
maybe 7, we'll see. Depends on the new things we're gonna add now. You know, we'll see. What I want to do actually would be ideal to bring some more businesses and do it like in a package, you know. But even if it don't do IPO, it's still a great business, right? I mean, the most important thing is for us is to not to lose the sense with reality and just keep growing, keep doing. Like whatever, like Facebook, for example, Meta is doing, right? It's a great company. Like I love Meta. I own the stock also. I love what they do, and the Mark is a great leader. I mean, he keeps building it. Take Dana White. I love Dana White. You know, I know him personally, and he's genius, man. What he did in UFC. UFC was small, tiny. They bought it for $2 million. Just
Yeah, I remember the Fertitas.
Yeah, and look, their valuation maybe is 20 billion now, and he keeps.
Crazy.
He also can relax, you know, but he enjoys what he does.
Yeah.
And I'm not comparing myself to anyone, but we do the same thing. You know, we have some great ideas. We want to keep building. I'm not thinking about exiting or you know, but IPO I could do it if I do it correctly. So
yeah, there are so many more questions that I would like to ask you, David. I know that we have a time limit here, but I'm gonna limit myself to the final question of today. Where do you see the company in 3 years' time? You talk a lot about now building out and coming up with new products and so on. If you imagine yourself sitting next to me at the podcast here in 3 years' time, how would you explain your company at that point?
So in short, I think we grew so much. Now we a little bit for the last couple of months we're not growing that much. You know, I'm not afraid to say it because like 14 billion is big amount. You know, it's you cannot just jump like this. But what I think so in 3 years would happen that. I'm going to ask you a question. What do you think? Like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg has to do with the iGaming and with us? You know what? They do satellite internet, and the satellites that will come more and more people will have access to that, and it will grow whole iGaming, especially us. So right now. I don't know the numbers, but if you take India, for example, they 50% of the population don't have the internet, right? Right. So that's why they do satellite internet. You know, obviously the Facebook wants to have more customers, you know, and et cetera. But for not only for us, but the whole iGaming industry, more internet in 3 years, more development of the technologies will bring more customers. So I think the growth for us will be in next 2-3 years by bringing, because we are now mostly everywhere. There's no casino that don't have Aviator. I mean, if the market allows it, right? Mm-hmm. So my big thing is related to the satellite internet development, and I think we're gonna have more customers. And one more thing, like. Africa is developing economically. India now becoming same like China 10 years ago. But you know what? China, for example, you have so many millionaires and billionaires in China because they made so many factories, newcomers. And India now is becoming, like Apple moved to India now, many factory companies moving, because China becoming very expensive. China producing so much products that it's so expensive. Now a lot of developments goes to India. If India becomes as China with a big, strong middle class, with new millionaires, it will become big for, because it's 1.5 billion people, right? I mean, so, and Africa is the same thing. Africa is showed like 8, 9, 10% growth for the last 5-6 years. So basically the idea is more economic growth will make more funds for entertainment, including the iGaming.
David, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
2 years wait was worth it. Thank you for sitting down with me.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure, and congratulations to all the success, David. Thank you.
Thank you, Björn. Thank you for having me. Thank you.